joined the search for Michael Bryson, and they are not slowing down 5 days later. KEZI 9 News.
27-year-old Michael Bryson has been missing for more than 2 months now, and the search is still very active.
The disappearance of Michael Bryson.
He went missing in 2020 after telling his parents he was going on a camping trip.
The party, or rave as it's been referred to, took place at the Hobo Campground just outside Dorina in the Umpqua National Forest.
In the expanse of the Umpqua National Forest, an unsettling mystery began to unfold in early August of 2020. Michael Bryson, a 27-year-old resident of Eugene, Oregon, would soon become the central figure in a disappearance that perplexed and alarmed both his community and the authorities. Michael was well known in his hometown for his generous spirit and his love for music, which often saw him at the heart of local gatherings. His personality was as vibrant as the beats he spun as a DJ. As summer reached its peak, Michael planned to attend a week-long birthday celebration that combined the rustic charm of camping with the unrestrained joy of a music festival. The chosen venue, Hobo Campground, was nestled in the dense, lush settings of the Umpqua National Forest, a place that promised not only natural beauty, but a break from the hustle of everyday life. This trip was not just another outing, it was anticipated as a highlight of the summer, a perfect escape into nature with close friends. Before his departure, Michael visited his parents' home in Harrisburg, a small town not far from Eugene. It was here, in the comfort of familiar surroundings, that he shared the details of his upcoming adventure. His excitement was measurable. His eyes lit up as he spoke about the people he would meet and the music he would bring to life in the forest. His parents, accustomed to their son's adventurous spirit, listened intently, sharing in his enthusiasm while silently nursing the usual parental concerns that flutter about when either a child or adult ventures from home. Michael's journey from his parents' home to the Hobo Campground was uneventful, marked by the scenic drive through Oregon's picturesque landscapes. Upon arrival, he was greeted by the sight and sounds of a party already in motion. Friends and acquaintances, some he had not seen since before the world was gripped by the pandemic, welcomed him with open arms. The campground was alive with energy as tents dotted the sites, lights strung between the trees, and in the distance, the steady pulse of electronic music beckoned. As he set up his own campsite, Michael could feel the pulsing energy of the forest around him. The trees seemed to sway rhythmically with the music, and the night sky was a blanket of stars, undisturbed by city lights. The setting was idyllic, yet as the night drew on, the isolation of the wilderness around them could not be ignored. It was in this vast, open space that the line between festivity and vulnerability would blur, setting the stage for a disappearance that would captivate and mystify all who heard about it. The mysterious elements of Michael's last known location, the remote and primitive Hobo Campground, the imposing forest, and the joyful yet chaotic nature of a rave in such a setting, all of which contributed to the eerie prelude of his story. Little did anyone know, this vibrant beginning would soon take a turn into the unknown, leaving behind nothing but questions and a haunting silence of the woods where he was last seen. As the vibrant night progressed at the Hobo Campground deep within the Umpqua National Forest, the atmosphere thumped with a mixture of music, laughter, and the rustle of leaves in the evening breeze. The event, a blend of a birthday celebration and a rave, had drawn a diverse crowd of attendees, all there to enjoy the escape in the wilderness. Michael Bryson, known among his friends for his charisma and DJ skills, was right at the heart of it. The evening started promisingly as Michael took to the makeshift stage to perform a DJ set that perfectly captured the spirit of this gathering. His music, a mix of vibrant beats and soulful melodies, resonated through the crowd, setting feet moving and spirits soaring. As he spun track after track, the connection between him and the audience seemed unbreakable, a shared moment of joy that defined the start of what was meant to be a memorable night. However, as the night wore on, the initial euphoria began to give way to a more chaotic undertone. The isolated setting, combined with the consumption of alcohol and other substances, started to alter the mood among the partygoers. Michael, who was at the center of this whirlwind, appeared increasingly out of sorts as the nights drew into the early morning hours. Friends later recounted seeing him agitated and restless, a contrast to the elated DJ who had owned the stage just hours earlier. Around 4 a.m., the situation took a mysterious turn. Michael abruptly left the bus that served as the central hub for the rave, stepping out into the dark forest. His departure was sudden and without any clear indication of his intent. Concerns quickly escalated when a text message surfaced from one of the attendees. Also, we may or may not have spun Michael out, and he is lost in the woods. This message suggested that Michael might have been profoundly affected by substances, enough to disorient him and impair his ability to navigate the treacherous woodland safely. The term spun out gains a chilling significance, especially when paired with the cryptic text message about his condition on the night he vanished. The Urban Dictionary definition of spun out describes a state induced by excessive use of powerful stimulants like methamphetamine or synthetic drugs, which can lead to severe paranoia, disorientation, and erratic behavior. This state is marked by symptoms such as fear of law enforcement and bizarre, repetitive behaviors. Michael's sudden and unexplained departure from the bus at the party might suggest that he was experiencing some of these intense effects. His behavior, as described by the unsettling text, implies that he could have been suffering from a severe level of distress and confusion, exacerbating his vulnerability in the wild. The dense and dark forest, combined with his possible impairment, would have significantly increased the risks that he faced, painting a grim picture of his last known hours. Given the mysterious and alarming circumstances, the search efforts could have been influenced by concerns over his mental and physical state, focusing on areas where someone in a confused and agitated state might wander. This adds a layer of urgency and complexity to the search, as rescuers might not only be looking for someone who was physically lost, but also psychologically distressed and unable to seek help effectively. The broader understanding of what it meant to be spun out helps illustrate why Michael's disappearance was particularly perplexing and worrying for those searching for him. It emphasizes the critical need for timely and thorough search and rescue efforts in such cases, where an individual's condition could drastically worsen their chances of surviving in the wilderness. This revelation sent ripples of worry through the group. A sense of unease began to permeate the crowd. Discussions about what the text could mean and whether Michael was in a state to look after himself became more frantic. The search for Michael did not fully begin until the full daylight illuminated the dense forest, revealing just how daunting the task of finding him would be. The delay in organizing a search, combined with the cryptic, last known circumstances of his departure, complicated the efforts. The forest, vast and indifferent, kept its secrets as the search teams prepared to delve into its depths. The realization of Michael Bryson's disappearance did not dawn immediately on the partygoers at the hobo campground. It was only as the night's festivities waned and the clear light of day began to break through the dense canopy that the gravity of the situation became apparent. What had started as a night of joy and connection had slipped into a scenario fraught with uncertainty and fear. As the morning unfolded, the initial inquiries into Michael's whereabouts transformed into a deep, communal concern. Friends retraced steps, and the last sighting of Michael was scrutinized, all painting a picture of his unexpected and unexplained departure. His parents, not hearing from him as expected, felt a growing unease that something was terribly wrong. The alarm was raised officially late in the day, much later than the critical initial hours following his disappearance. By this time, the chances of finding Michael quickly and safely were diminishing. His parents, struck by a profound fear that every parent dreads, rushed to the campground. Expecting a coordinated effort by the search teams, they were met instead with a disorganized and seemingly indifferent response from the local authorities and the partygoers who were still on site. The search for Michael officially began that evening, almost a full day after he was last seen. The delay was critical and detrimental. His parents, now desperate, spearheaded the efforts, organizing the search parties, mapping out the area, and coordinating with local search and rescue teams. The campground, once a site of a festivity, turned into a command center for the search operation. As the search expanded, the vastness of the Umpqua National Forest became a formidable adversary. The terrain was rough, with thick underbrush, steep ravines, and extensive ground to cover. The forest, which had so recently echoed with the sounds of music and laughter, now seemed ominously silent, as if holding its breath. Search teams called out for Michael, their voices echoing through the trees, met with only the rustle of leaves in response. The mystery of Michael's whereabouts deepened with each passing hour. Aerial drones buzzed overhead, scanning the forest floor. Horseback teams navigated the more inaccessible areas, and volunteers lined up, shoulder to shoulder, to comb through the underbrush. The community's response was a contrast to the initial casual reactions, now marked by urgency and a sense of growing dread. The fading light of each day brought the chilling realization that Michael might not be found easily or at all. With every shadow cast by the setting sun, hope dwindled, and the forest seemed to grow larger and darker, a vast expanse hiding a mystery that no one was prepared for. The search efforts, fraught with emotional and physical exhaustion, reflected the harsh reality with each hour that passed. The likelihood of finding Michael alive and well diminished significantly. As the initial fervor of the search for Michael Bryson began to wane, the efforts transitioned into a prolonged and grueling phase. Weeks turned into months, and the dense Umpqua National Forest continued to keep its secrets, offering no clues to Michael's whereabouts. The exhaustive daily searches gradually scaled down, yet the determination of Michael's family and close friends never faltered. They continued to organize weekend searches, reaching out to experienced trackers and anyone who could help navigate the challenging terrain. The mystery of Michael's disappearance deepened with each fruitless search. Every uncovered footprint or piece of discarded clothing led to dead ends, further compounding the frustration and heartache felt by those looking for answers. The forest seemed impenetrable, a vast green expanse that swallowed up any trace of Michael. It was as if the earth had opened up and taken him, leaving behind nothing but echoes of his last known night. Inconsistencies in the stories from the last people to see Michael alive fueled various theories and speculation. Some believed he might have decided to walk away from his life, overwhelmed by undisclosed pressures. Others suspected foul play, a theory that his abrupt and uncharacteristic disappearance seemed to support. The lack of concrete evidence made every hypothesis as plausible as it was haunting. Volunteers and law enforcement combed through the area with drones that swept the skies and divers who plunged into the nearby lakes, searching for any sign that could lead to Michael. The community rallied with vigils and fundraisers, maintaining public interest and hope, keeping Michael's story alive and in the media and on social media platforms. Despite the dwindling leads, the search efforts revealed the resilience and depth of the community's commitment to finding Michael. His parents, driven by a profound need for closure, continued to push for answers. They met regularly with investigators, pored over maps, and reviewed hours of drone footage, desperate for a breakthrough. As the seasons changed, the harsh weather conditions added another layer of difficulty to the search efforts. The cold, wet months made the terrain even more treacherous, and the reduced daylight hours shortened the window for searching. Yet, through rain and cold, Michael's family and the community's resolve only seemed to strengthen, bound together by the shared sorrow and collective hope for resolution. This ongoing struggle to find Michael created a somber bond among those involved, each person driven by a mix of hope, duty, and the haunting realization that the mystery might never be solved. The forest, once a place of refuge and joy for Michael, had become a somber symbol of loss and unresolved mystery, its silence a constant reminder of all that remained unknown. Months after Michael Bryson's disappearance, the dense foliage of the Umpqua National Forest continued to hold its silence, deepening the puzzle surrounding his fate. The vibrant energy and promise that once marked Michael's presence at the hobo campground seemed a distant memory, overshadowed by the pervasive mystery and sorrowful wait for answers. The Bryson family, supported unwaveringly by a community that refused to let Michael's story fade into obscurity, found themselves in a state of suspended grief. The forest, a sprawling entity of both beauty and menace, appeared to guard its secrets jealously, frustrating the efforts of even the most determined searchers. As the investigation continued, it transformed from a frantic search into a more methodical, albeit agonizing, quest for any piece of evidence. Michael's parents pored over every detail, revisiting the same spots repeatedly, each visit a reminder of the passage of time without resolution. They organized community meetings, kept in constant contact with detectives, and maintained a presence in the media to ensure that their son's case remained in the public eye. The lack of evidence and definitive leads prompted broader questions about the nature of disappearances in wilderness areas, drawing attention from experts in search and rescue operations, psychologists, and criminologists. Discussions about safety in remote settings, the effects of substance use in vulnerable situations, and the psychological impacts of unresolved cases filled community forums and social media discussions. Symbolically, the forest became a reminder of life's fragility and unpredictability. Each tree, path, and creek in the national forest had been scrutinized, yet the vastness of the wild seemed only to grow, as if mirroring the expanding gap between the known and the unknown. The echoing void left by Michael's absence resonated through a community, a constant call to understand, to remember, and to learn. In this lingering phase of not knowing, the Bryson family and their supporters found a certain strength in unity and purpose. They established foundations to support other families dealing with similar agonies, advocating for better resources in wilderness and search and rescue efforts, and also for the greater awareness about personal safety among partygoers and adventurers alike. As the years passed, the narrative of Michael Bryson did not conclude with clear answers, but evolved into a larger dialogue about loss, hope, and the human capacity to seek truths against dawning odds. The forest, with its undisturbed depths and silent watch over the secrets that it holds, stood as a solemn testament to the enduring search for Michael, a search that, in its essence, transcended the physical and ventured into the heart of human resilience and collective memory. The story of Michael Bryson, unresolved yet unforgettable, continues to echo through the trees, a lingering reminder of the search for truth in the shadows of uncertainty. Kyle Brittain, at 27 years old, was no stranger to the challenging trails and rugged beauty of Hawaii's landscapes. An experienced hiker from Honolulu, he had explored many paths with friends and family throughout his life. His love for the great outdoors was matched by his skills and knowledge of survival techniques, making him well prepared for almost any challenge nature could throw at him. Yet, on August 30th of 2019, Kyle decided to embark on a journey unlike any other he had undertaken before, a solo hike in the expansive Waipio Valley on the Big Island of Hawaii. This decision was out of the ordinary for Kyle, who had always hiked with company. The Waipio Valley, known for its stunning vistas, steep cliffs, and deep cultural significance, is as beautiful as it is treacherous. His father, Steve Brittain, recounted Kyle's resolve to hike alone, expressing concerns over the decision, but trusting in his son's abilities and judgments. On the morning of his disappearance, Kyle set out at around 6 a.m., driving his vehicle to the trail's entrance near the Waipio Valley lookout area. He had informed his family of his plans, marking his route on the trail towards Waimanu Valley, a path framed by a 1,000-foot cliff at a 70-degree angle. This information would later become a crucial piece of the puzzle in understanding his last known whereabouts. By noon that day, a signal from Kyle's cell phone briefly pinged, offering a faint glimmer of his presence in the area. However, as hours turned into night with no word from Kyle, attempts to contact him proved futile. His family's worry deepened, leading to the filing of a missing persons report with the Hawaii Police Department on the evening of August 31st. The valley, a residence of early Hawaiian kings and a site revered for its historical and spiritual significance, had transformed into the backdrop of a perplexing disappearance. The mystery of Kyle Brittain's decision to hike alone, his preparedness, and his sudden vanishing has since echoed through the valleys and communities of Hawaii, igniting a search that would draw in volunteers, experts, and the hearts of many across the nation. Before dawn on August 30th of 2019, Kyle Brittain prepared to step into the unknown. It was an unusual day. Kyle, who usually hiked with friends or family, chose solitude over companionship for his journey into the YPO Valley. As the first light of the day touched the sky, Kyle gathered his essentials: water, power bars, and his trusted cell phone. These items, simple yet vital, were all he thought he needed for the day's adventure. His father, Steve, watched with a mix of pride and worry. The decision to hike alone had sparked concern. Steve remembered cautioning Kyle about the risks, emphasizing the importance of safety. Despite his vast experience and the countless trails Kyle had conquered, hiking alone presented a new set of challenges, especially in the unfamiliar and rugged terrain of YPO Valley. Kyle reassured his father with a plan. He would hike the trail towards Waimano Valley and return before sunset. He shared his route, promised regular check-ins, and with a sense of determination, assured his father of his readiness. The last conversation between Kyle and his family now lingers as a haunting memory. With his preparations complete and his route set, Kyle left in his vehicle, parking it near the trail's entrance as the morning unfolded. The world was unaware that this departure marked the beginning of a mystery that would captivate and concern many. As Kyle ventured into the valley, a place of immense beauty and hidden dangers, his story took a turn toward the unknown, leaving behind unanswered questions and a trail gone cold. With the break of dawn as his only witness, he ventured toward the valley's lookout, the last place anyone would report seeing him. As the day unfolded, Kyle's silence grew more pronounced. Calls to his cell phone went unanswered, texts remained undelivered, and by nightfall, worry turned into alarm. The silence from Kyle, so out of character for the experienced hiker, sent a ripple of concern through his family. The following day, August 31st, the gravity of Kyle's absence sank in. Faced with a day of silence and no sign of his return, his family contacted the Hawaii Police Department. A missing person report was filed, marking the official start of a search that would draw eyes and hearts from across the nation. The report sparked a flurry of activity, with law enforcement and Kyle's loved ones grappling with the sudden turn from an ordinary hike to an urgent search and rescue operation.
The search for a hiker in Hawaii, missing for over a week now. He was last seen heading towards a steep trail on the Big Island. And ABC's Marcy Gonzalez joins us with more on this now intensifying search. Good morning, Marcy.
Good morning, Eva. This young man's father says he's been hiking since he was 3 years old and did everything right in this situation. He let people know exactly where he'd be and when to expect his next call. And when it didn't come 9 days ago, his family called for help. In this scenic landscape, this morning, a daunting search for this hiker missing for more than a week. Teams scouring the steep, thick terrain of the YPO Valley on Hawaii's Big Island, determined to find Kyle Brittain.
I have to be optimistic. We all are.
2 Fridays ago, the 27-year-old experienced hiker decided to spend the day on a trail he'd hiked with family in the past. This time, though, setting out by himself.
He never hiked alone, and he said, I want to try it.
He left at 6 a.m., his family saying his cell phone pinged at the top of the trail's more than 1,000-foot cliffs at 8 a.m. Other than his vehicle found parked nearby, there's been no sign of Kyle since.
He wasn't equipped to do an overnight hike. If he's out there surviving, which we hope he is, it's pretty bare essentials he's working with.
But the search team, growing by the day, is well equipped. Helicopters, dogs, and rescuers who know firsthand that anything is possible.
You know, this is a very large area, so we're just trying to make sure that Kyle didn't push really far in.
Javier Canalops is one of the volunteers who found Amanda Eller 17 days after she disappeared during a hike in Hawaii.
I never lose hope of finding him. I mean, Amanda was a perfect example of that, you know, of never losing hope.
This morning, leaning on that inspiration to help fuel this search.
We're all going to be here until we find him.
And his family says it rained the day of Kyle's hike, so it's possible he slipped and is injured somewhere in that valley. They say there's also little cell service there, which would explain why his phone stopped pinging. Teams are heading back out to look for him this morning and raising money on GoFundMe to cover the mounting costs of this search. Whit.
A lot of people hoping for a positive outcome. Marcy Gonzalez for us in Los Angeles. Thank you.
By September 1st, the search for Kyle had mobilized into a full-scale operation. The Hawaiian Police Department and the Hilo Fire Department, equipped with the resolve to uncover Kyle's whereabouts, led the charge. The call for help echoed far and wide, urging the community to come together. Friends, family, and volunteers, driven by hope and the desire to find Kyle, gathered in solidarity. Search dogs with their keen senses and drones with their sweeping views were deployed to scour the vast expanse of YPO Valley. These efforts marked the beginning of a tireless quest, a community's united stand against the shadows of uncertainty that had claimed one of their own. The mystery of Kyle's disappearance, deepening with each passing day, became a testament to the bonds that compel us to seek and to never give up hope. As days turned into nights with no sign of Kyle, the search efforts intensified, drawing a wave of support that surged from the heart of the community and beyond. The landscape of the YPO Valley, with its daunting cliffs and dense forests, presented a formidable challenge. Yet, the spirit of the search teams remained unbroken, fueled by the hope of finding Kyle safe. With the mystery deepening, the call for volunteers echoed far and wide, resonating with a community ready to stand in solidarity. People from all walks of life, bound by a shared purpose, stepped into the unknown, braving the challenging terrain of the valley.
This is day 3 of the search. We brought in rescue dogs from Kauai. We have the helicopters going up. We have ground crews of maybe 6 to 8 people on the ground searching the trails in the valley. The police fire rescue are committed for 2 more days. Then we're probably going to be moving to a community-based search program. The leader of the search team from Maui that was successful in finding the lost woman that was lost for 17 days in Maui, he's here coordinating the search efforts for the community-based program. What we're going to need is volunteers. If you're in physical shape of any kind to hike the trails or hike the valley, we're going to need 100, 200 people to start combing the hillsides, maybe rappel people if we've got that. Any help that you can give. I don't wish this on anybody. It's unbelievable. So any help you can give, my wife Lily and I, Kyle's mom, Kyle's brother is here. We've got family all over the islands. We love the support and help we've got so far, but I think we're going to need a lot more. So thank you so much for everything so far.
Is there a contact number that they can call for more information that you have?
You can call my cell, 808-99. Ask for me. My cell's on. We have some coverage up here, minimal, but we are checking all the time.
All right, Steve. Well, good luck in the continued search as we continue to search for Kyle. His last known whereabouts was, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, he was going to do a day hike, hike the Z Trail. So he came Friday morning at 7 a.m. Somebody saw up here, he asked to use the bathroom where it was. They pointed it out and he said, thanks, have a nice day. And that's the last time anybody saw or heard from him. We've had people in the valley, hikers, everybody, no one's seen or heard anything about him since then. So this is day 3 and knowing he's out there is killing us.
The response was overwhelming, with hundreds of volunteers lending their time, effort, and expertise to the cause. They combed through the thickets, called out Kyle's name, and held onto the belief that their efforts would lead them to him. The logistical challenges of the search were many. The vastness of the area, coupled with its treacherous paths and limited access, tested the resolve of the search teams daily. Yet, innovation and determination led to the deployment of drones, which soared above the canopy, providing eyes in the sky where the terrain was too difficult for volunteers to reach. As the search expanded, so did the outpouring of support in the form of donations. Funds flowed in, not just from locals, but from well-wishers across the nation, all touched by Kyle's story and eager to contribute to the search efforts. These donations help fuel the logistical needs of the operation, from transportation for the search dogs to the hiring of helicopters to sweep the vast expanses of the valley from above. The national attention the case received served to amplify the urgency of the search, casting a spotlight on the mystery of Kyle's disappearance and the collective endeavor to find him. News outlets, social media, and community forums buzzed with updates and calls for assistance, drawing more volunteers and resources to the valley. In the face of adversity, the community's resolve only grew stronger, epitomizing the power of collective action and the unyielding hope of finding Kyle Brittain.
What's happening, everybody? Today is day 11, 12. I think it's 12. It's Tuesday. As you can see, we're going up Z Trail, which is absolutely brutal. Just to start off with, we got teams still in the valley. That's that swamp that we searched yesterday, all the way around the perimeter. You can see just how vast this valley is. But we want to continue to search the ridgeline. Unfortunately, today we don't have access to helicopters to fly us up. Tomorrow we will have 3 teams fly up. That's if we can't find them today, obviously. As you can imagine, most of us are beat. This is actually real small teams. Basically our main team with some local volunteers. We also have some local hunters involved. But I mean, you can see this rugged beauty. That's spectacular. And normally I would be relishing doing this. This is absolutely brutal, especially after the couple of days of hiking we've already had. Just really tough conditions. So just wanted to give an update and show you exactly where we're at, seeing how much energy, focus, determination it is to search this great expanse. We're going up. Talk to you soon. Javier out.
As the search for Kyle Brittain continued, the emotional toll on his family became heart-wrenching. Their daily lives were now consumed by the search, each day passing without Kyle, bringing a heavier burden of worry and longing. Among the volunteers, drone videographers and search experts emerged as key figures, utilizing their skills to pierce the veil of mystery surrounding Kyle's disappearance. The drone pilots, with their eyes in the skies, searched from above, while experts on the ground navigated the treacherous terrain, each step guided by the hope of finding a clue, a sign, anything that could lead to Kyle.
We're just pushing back into the valley again. We're gonna do some gully work and just see if there's any spots that he potentially would have slipped, or just, we don't know at this point, and we're reopening our ideas to things that we think we had checked already. Now that we have a little bit more resources and a little bit more experience, we've got our master diver here who just took a little spill. Didn't go down the cliff though, which is a good thing. But yeah, just hoping we find him today. At this point, closure at any point. You know, it's what we want.
Absolutely, man.
We really want him to be alive, and
absolutely,
I want to slap the hell out of him. But the nights are getting harder, the days are getting harder, but we're not going to stop.
Fuck yeah, man.
He's out here somewhere, and that's what keeps us going. So we're just going.
Absolutely, dude. Thank you so much, Sam. All right, guys. Hit you up soon.
As days turned into weeks, the official search efforts began to wane, but the community's determination did not. The mission to find Kyle transitioned into a community-led effort, a testament to the bond and collective will of those involved. The valley, once a place of natural beauty and solitude, had now become a symbol of unity and hope. Kyle's family, at the heart of this endeavor, continued to lead the charge, their faith unwavering. They organized searches, coordinated with volunteers, and ensured that Kyle's story remained at the forefront of the community's consciousness. Their home became a hub of activity. Maps lined the walls, and plans were made and remade, each strategy fueled by the singular goal of finding Kyle. In the face of uncertainty, the community's hope remained persistent. The search for Kyle Brittain had brought together people from all walks of life, each contributing in their own way to the efforts. It was this collective hope, this united front, that illuminated the path forward, a beacon in the search for Kyle, keeping alive the belief that he would be found. Today, the search for Kyle remains active in the hearts of those who knew him and in the community that came together in his name. The efforts have evolved, but the hope for Kyle's safe return burns as brightly as ever. Volunteers continue to gather, share stories, and comb through new areas, driven by the belief that Kyle is still out there. The legacy of Kyle's disappearance transcends the immediate urgency of the search efforts. It has woven a fabric of awareness and community support that will endure. His story has inspired initiatives focused on improving hiking safety, emergency preparedness, and the establishment of a support network for families facing similar ordeals. The valley where Kyle was last seen has become more than a backdrop to his mysterious disappearance. It stands as a symbol of communal strength, resilience, and the indomitable spirit of hope. In the search for Kyle Brittain, a community found its unity, a family found its strength, and the world was reminded of the profound impact one person could have on the hearts of so many. The quest to find Kyle goes on, with each day bringing new efforts, new challenges, and renewed commitment to bringing him home. In the serene expanse of Colorado's rugged landscapes, the tale of Michelle Ray Vanek unfolds, a narrative that has captivated the imaginations of many and left an indelible mark on the community of outdoor enthusiasts. Michelle, at 35 years of age, epitomized the spirit of adventure and the profound love for the natural world. A mother to 4 children, she balanced her family's responsibilities with an unwavering passion for the outdoors. Climbing and hiking were not just hobbies for Michelle, they were essential threads woven into the fabric of her identity, ways to immerse herself in the tranquility and majesty of nature's offerings. Her love for adventure led her to seek challenges that would push her limits and to allow her to experience the exhilaration of conquering nature's formidable peaks. Yet, it was her underlying spirit of exploration that set the stage for a journey from which she would not return. On September 24th of 2005, Michelle, accompanied by her friend Eric Sawyer, set out to ascend Mount of the Holy Cross. This mountain, standing as a sentinel with its elevation of 14,005 feet, presents a formidable challenge even to the most seasoned hikers. It is a peak that has etched itself into the lore of Colorado, not just for its daunting height, but also for the natural cross that adorns its facade, a feature that has intrigued and inspired countless souls. The day of their expedition dawned with promise, yet it harbored an underlying mystery that would soon engulf Michelle's fate in the shadows. As they embarked on their ascent, the air was filled with anticipation of the climb ahead, a year-long dream finally coming to fruition. Little did they know, this journey would etch Michelle's name into the records of unsolved mysteries, her story becoming a haunting testament to the unpredictability of nature and the human spirit's quest to conquer it. As a triathlete, Michelle had conditioned her body and mind to endure, to overcome, and to triumph, whether on the track, in the water, or against the incline of a mountain trail. Her love for the outdoors was matched by her enthusiasm for climbing, a hobby that brought her not just physical gratification, but a deep connection to the natural world. This connection was something she sought to share and celebrate with those around her, a shared experience that brought her closer to friends and family alike. Eric Sawyer, Michelle's climbing partner on that fateful expedition, stood as a contrast and a complement to her adventurous spirit. An experienced climber, Eric had successfully navigated numerous summits, his resume boasting ascents of 38 of Colorado's storied 14ers. His relationship for Michelle was grounded in a mutual respect for the mountain and a shared ambition to conquer it. Together, they had planned this climb for over a year, a testament to their dedication and the trust they placed in each other's abilities and judgments. Their dynamic was one of mutual encouragement and support, a partnership that promised to carry them to the summit of Mount of the Holy Cross. With Eric's experience and Michelle's athleticism, they approached the challenges with confidence, unaware that the journey would unfold into a narrative steeped in mystery. On the morning of September 24, 2005, Michelle, Ray, Vanek, and Eric Sawyer geared up with the essentials for their ambitious climb. They were poised at the threshold of a journey that would etch this date into the chronicles of the unexplained. Their target was the Mount of the Holy Cross, a formidable giant among the Colorado Rockies, revered not only for its daunting elevation, but also for the natural crucifix that it bore, a beacon for climbers and seekers alike. However, the day's promise was shadowed by a series of initial missteps that would later haunt the narrative of Michelle's mysterious disappearance. Despite their meticulous planning, Michelle and Eric inadvertently set off on the Halo route, a decision that steered their expedition towards unforeseen challenges. Renowned for its rigorous demands and treacherous terrain, the Halo route was not what they had intended to confront. Yet, faced with the realization of their mistake, they pressed on, driven by a year's worth of anticipation and the unyielding allure of the summit that laid ahead. As they ascended, the mountain revealed its merciless nature. Michelle, despite her athletic prowess and triathlete conditioning, found herself grappling with the altitude's unforgiving grasp. The thin air began to exact its toll, manifesting in headaches and a fatigue that clung to her steps, each breath becoming a battle for equilibrium. The pair reached a critical juncture when, just 400 yards from the summit, the mountain's invisible weight became insurmountable for Michelle. With the peak almost within reach, she made the harrowing decision to halt her ascent. Her body and spirit had given in to the altitude's relentless force. Eric, faced with his partner's distress and the summit's call, found himself at a crossroad of loyalty and ambition. After a moment of contemplation, he chose to pursue the final stretch alone, leaving Michelle to wait amidst the boundaries that speckled the mountain's face. The decision marked the last known sighting of Michelle, a moment frozen in time, where words and glances were exchanged, unaware of their finality. Eric pressed on to the summit, leaving behind not just Michelle, but the last known evidence of her presence on the mountain. The silence that followed was profound, preserving its secrets with Michelle's fate within its embrace. As Eric ascended the remaining distance, the mystery of what lay ahead was overshadowed by the mystery of his friend that he left behind. As Eric descended from the summit, the triumph of reaching the peak was swiftly overshadowed by a growing sense of unease. The agreed-upon rendezvous spot, where he expected to find Michelle waiting, was hauntingly empty. His calls for Michelle, carried by the wind, met with no response but the mountain's indifferent silence. With each step that failed to reveal her presence, Eric's concern deepened into alarm. The realization of Michelle's absence spurred him into immediate action, retracing their path in a frantic search that only confirmed his worst fears. Michelle had vanished. The gravity of the situation prompted Eric to alert the authorities, setting into motion a search and rescue operation that would quickly escalate into one of the largest in Colorado state history. Within hours, the serene wilderness of Mount of the Holy Cross became the epicenter of a massive human effort to unravel a mystery that the mountain seemed determined to keep. Rangers, officers, and helicopter crews were deployed. The community's response was overwhelming, with hundreds of volunteers joining the search, driven by a collective resolve to bring Michelle home. Despite the extensive resources mobilized, helicopters scouring from above, ground crews combing through the rugged terrain, and scent dogs tracing every possible trail, the mountain yielded no clues to Michelle's whereabouts. The initial absence of any trace was perplexing. No backpack, no shoes, no signs of distress. The mountain, vast and impenetrable, seemed to have swallowed her whole, leaving behind a silence that echoed with unanswered questions. This bewildering lack of evidence only deepened the mystery of Michelle's disappearance, casting a shadow over the exhaustive efforts of the search team. As days turned into weeks, the hope that had driven the operation faced the relentless reality of the mountain's secrecy. The Mount of the Holy Cross, for all its majestic beauty, held its secrets tightly, leaving those searching for Michelle to ponder the unfathomable. How could someone vanish so completely in the presence of so many determined to find her? As the search for Michelle intensified, the mountain began to yield fragments of a narrative, each more mysterious than the last. 2 days into the exhaustive efforts, searchers stumbled upon an unsettling clue: a duffel bag and a shotgun, abandoned and seemingly out of place in the wilderness that Michelle had vanished into. This discovery prompted a ripple of speculation among the search teams and the wider community, introducing a sinister undertone to the already mystifying circumstances of her disappearance. In another unexpected twist, reports surfaced of a man who seemed to shun contact with others, choosing instead to conceal himself behind trees, refusing the calls of others to show his face. This bizarre behavior only added layers to an unfolding mystery, leaving more questions in its wake. The presence of this elusive individual in the vicinity of Michelle's last known whereabouts added a human element to the speculation surrounding her fate, a factor that complicated the narrative of a simple disappearance and introduced the possibility of foul play. Amid the sprawling search operation, another chilling discovery was made: traces of blood in the snow. The blood, found without any discernible context or explanation, became a focal point of speculation. The absence of follow-up analysis on its origin left a gaping hole in the investigation, a piece of the puzzle that remained frustratingly out of reach. Was this blood connected to Michelle, or was it an unrelated anomaly in the wilderness? The lack of definitive answers only served to deepen the mystery in this case. The search also brought a man to light named Peter Martin. Encountered by the search teams, Martin's demeanor was marked by resistance and evasion, his unwillingness to engage raising suspicions among those involved in the rescue efforts. His presence on the mountain, coupled with his obscure behavior, cast him as a figure of intrigue in the narrative of Michelle's disappearance. The search team's interaction with Martin were fraught with unanswered questions. Each of these discoveries, the abandoned items, the fleeting encounters with a man in the shadows, the unexpected blood, and the mysterious Peter Martin, wove together a narrative of clues and suspicions. Yet, for all their potential significance, they failed to illuminate the fate of Michelle on that September day. Instead, they stood as cryptic signs in the wilderness. In the wake of the clues and the absence of concrete evidence, theories and speculations swirled around the disappearance of Michelle. The community and authorities alike grappled with various scenarios, each attempting to piece together the fragments of the story that the mountain refused to relinquish. One prevailing theory was foul play, a notion that gained traction with the discovery of the shotgun and the encounters with individuals whose behavior seemed to defy innocent explanation. This theory suggested that Michelle might have stumbled upon something or someone with malicious intent, leading to a tragic outcome. The presence of the unidentified man and the mysterious Peter Martin in the vicinity where Michelle vanished added fuel to these speculations, suggesting a sinister human element at play in the wilderness. Another line of speculation pointed toward an accidental death due to natural elements. The rugged and unforgiving terrain of Mount of the Holy Cross, coupled with Michelle's reported struggles with altitude and fatigue, suggested a scenario in which she might have succumbed to the harsh conditions. This theory contemplates the possibility that Michelle, disoriented and weakened, may have fallen or suffered a fatal injury, her location obscured by the dense wilderness and the mountain's vast expanses. Investigators, sifting through the evidence and weighing the theories, lean towards the likelihood of Michelle encountering a fatal mishap caused by the natural challenges of the mountain. Without conclusive evidence, the narratives woven by community members, authorities, and the media serves as attempts to make sense of a situation that defies easy explanation. In a dramatic turn of events, nearly 2 decades after Michelle Ray Vanek vanished without a trace, a weathered hiking boot was discovered in the wilderness south of Vail, casting new light on the enduring mystery of her disappearance. The boot, identified as Michelle's, was found propped against a boulder, its leather ravaged by time and the elements, yet unmistakably hers, purchased just a day before her ill-fated hike. This solitary piece of evidence, the first tangible clue after years of speculation and search efforts, reignited interest in the case. For years, the prevailing theory suggested that Michelle, overcome by altitude sickness and exhaustion, might have strayed off course, leading to a fatal accident in an area far from the initial search zones. However, the location of the boot, found in an area where few venture, north of the summit and below a rocky slope, suggested a different trajectory entirely. This revelation has led to a reassessment of Michelle's likely path on the day that she vanished. It now appears that, contrary to the belief that she might have headed west after getting lost, Michelle likely ventured north, attempting to navigate her way back via a route that her and her climbing partner had not planned to take. The boot's location, far from the originally speculated areas, indicates that Michelle might have been trying to follow a trail-like feature down the mountain, mistakenly believing it to lead to safety. Instead, it led her into terrain that was, unbeknownst to her, seldom traveled and fraught with danger. The implications of the boot's discovery extend beyond the mere fact of its finding. They challenge the understanding of Michelle's movements and decisions in her final hours. Investigators now theorize that Michelle, disoriented and likely in a state of physical distress, inadvertently ventured into a perilous and isolated area of the mountain. This new understanding provides a critical piece of the puzzle in reconstructing the sequence of events that led to her disappearance, offering her family and those who have followed the case a semblance of closure, yet also deepening the mystery with new questions about her last steps. The effect of Michelle's disappearance extends beyond her immediate circle, touching the hearts of the wider community of outdoor enthusiasts and climbers. Her story intertwines love for the natural world with the imperative of caution and respect for its challenges. The story of Michelle Ray Vanek, marked by unresolved mysteries, continues to resonate, a somber testament to the allure and peril of the mountains that she loved. It beckons us not only to remember her, but also to learn from her story, to ensure that the spirit of adventure is always approached with an unwavering commitment to safety. In light of the ongoing mystery surrounding Michelle's fate, there is a continuous call to action for anyone who might hold information, however seemingly inconsequential. We encourage you to come forward, and the Eagle County Sheriff's Office remains the primary contact point for tips or insights that could lead to a breakthrough in the case. Their commitment to uncovering the truth stands as a beacon of hope for resolution and closure to what happened to Michelle. Derek Lueking, a 24-year-old man from Louisville, Tennessee, was known for being dependable and organized. The following day, his car was found parked at Newfound Gap, a popular spot in the mountains. Inside the car, a note with the unsettling message, "Do not look for me," sparked a wide-scale search. This cryptic message, coupled with Derek's sudden and unexplained absence, left everyone grappling with numerous unanswered questions, shrouding his disappearance in a deep mystery. In the weeks leading up to his disappearance, Derek's behavior began to subtly change. His roommate, Ryan, and Derek's family noticed he was starting to drink and smoke, habits that were out of character for him. Derek also seemed increasingly withdrawn, adding to their growing concern about his well-being. On March 15th of 2012, a routine morning took a concerning turn. Derek failed to show up for his job at Peninsula Hospital, an unusual deviation for someone known for his punctuality and reliability. Ryan recalled the morning vividly. Derek's alarm was blaring as he left for work, an odd occurrence since Derek typically woke up and turned it off promptly. Compounding the worry, Derek's computer revealed searches for the Great Smoky Mountains and a reservation at a micro-hotel in Cherokee, North Carolina. These findings were puzzling, as Derek had not mentioned any plans to anyone that he was going to travel. This unexpected discovery intensified the mystery, leading his family and friends to question what Derek was seeking in the remote wilderness. Upon realizing Derek was missing, his family acted quickly. Alarmed by his unexplained absence and the concerning details on his computer, they drove overnight from Virginia to Tennessee. Their urgency was fueled by worry and the hope of finding Derek safe. When Derek's family reached the hotel in Cherokee, North Carolina, they encountered a room that seemed frozen in a moment of contemplation. A Bible lay open on the bed, and nearby, a bottle of liquor was found on the floor, items that hinted Derek may have been wrestling with a tough decision. The scene was eerie, with personal belongings left as if Derek would return at any moment, yet he was nowhere to be found. The trail led to the newfound gap, where Derek's white Ford Escape was parked in the lower lot. Inside the car, the atmosphere thickened with mystery. The family found Derek's wallet and keys, which he would typically take with him. Most striking was a note left in the vehicle with the words, "Don't look for me." This cryptic message, combined with his belongings left behind, deepened the puzzle of his disappearance and left everyone grappling with more questions than answers. The discovery of the cryptic note in Derek's car cast a shadow over the investigation into his disappearance. Written simply, the message was both stark and puzzling, leaving a chilling air of mystery. This note did not specify a recipient, which only deepened the intrigue and speculation about its intended meaning. Derek's family and the authorities were left to interpret this puzzling piece of evidence. The note suggested a desire for solitude, or perhaps an intention to vanish without a trace, yet it was ambiguous enough to keep all possibilities open. His family was torn between distress and confusion. They pondered whether Derek was signaling a need to escape life's pressures, or if it indicated something more ominous. The ambiguity of the message made it difficult for everyone involved to gauge Derek's mental state at the time that he left. Authorities considered the possibility of a planned disappearance, but the note's vague wording left them uncertain about whether Derek might have been in distress or contemplating harm to himself. This single piece of paper, left in the silence of his parked car, became a central piece of the puzzle, heavily influencing the search and rescue efforts and the theories about Derek's eventual fate. The search for Derek was an extensive and challenging operation. It involved scores of search and rescue personnel, including park rangers, volunteers, and specially trained dogs. Helicopters buzzed overhead, scanning the rugged terrain of the Great Smoky Mountains, an area known for its dense forests and steep cliffs. Despite the considerable resources deployed, the search teams faced the daunting task of covering a vast and treacherous landscape. The community around the Smokies and beyond rallied to the cause, moved by the mysterious circumstances of Derek's disappearance. Local media covered the story extensively, broadcasting Derek's photos and the details of his last known location, hoping to drum up any leads. This widespread attention helped galvanize a network of hikers and visitors to be on the lookout, expanding the eyes and the ears on the ground in the operation. For Derek's family and friends, the public's engagement brought both comfort and sorrow. The visibility of the search kept their hopes alive, yet each passing day without news served as a reminder of the grim possibilities. The emotional toll was palpable, with each media update and community search effort reigniting a mix of hope and heartache. This period was marked by a blend of community support and the stark reality of an ongoing mystery with few answers. Derek's disappearance spurred a range of theories, each reflecting the mysterious nature of his vanishing. One prominent theory suggested that Derek might have planned to disappear and live off the land. Another theory considered the possibility of foul play or an unfortunate accident. The remote and wild terrain of the Great Smoky Mountains could easily be the scene of an accidental mishap, or, less likely, a criminal act, given the circumstances surrounding the discovery of his car and belongings. Psychological factors played a significant role in the speculation. Derek's recent behavioral changes and the cryptic note left behind hinted at a troubled state of mind. This led some to ponder whether he was grappling with personal issues that might have driven him to seek solitude or even contemplate more dire actions. Comparatively, the Smoky Mountains have been the backdrop for other missing person cases that remained unsolved, adding a layer of intrigue and historical mystery to Derek's case. The similarity between cases often involved sudden disappearances, minimal clues, and vast search areas, compounding the challenges for search teams and increasing the speculation among the public and investigators alike. Derek Lueking's family has remained steadfast in their efforts to uncover the truth behind his mysterious disappearance. Determined not to let Derek's story fade into obscurity, they have launched several social media campaigns aimed at spreading awareness and gathering new information. These online efforts have kept Derek's case in the public eye, attracting tips and encouraging those who may know something to come forward. Additionally, the family has actively engaged with hikers and tourists visiting the Great Smoky Mountains. They have distributed flyers and set up information booths at key trailheads, pleading with park visitors to keep an eye out for any sign of Derek. This direct engagement has not only helped maintain a visible presence in the area, but has also enlisted the help of a community of outdoor enthusiasts who frequent the park. The ongoing search has taken a profound emotional and psychological toll on the family. The uncertainty surrounding Derek's fate weighs heavy on their hearts, with each passing day adding to a burden of not knowing. Despite this, they continue to hold on to hope, driven by love and the relentless desire for closure. Their efforts underscore a deep commitment to finding answers, fueled by the belief that someone out there holds the key to solving the mystery of Derek's disappearance. As of today, the case of Derek Lueking remains unresolved, with his whereabouts still unknown. The search efforts have dwindled over the years, but his family continues to seek answers, holding on to the hope that new information will eventually surface. The mysterious note and Derek's sudden disappearance continue to puzzle both authorities and those who knew him. The unresolved nature of his case has broader implications for national park safety and missing person investigations. It highlights the challenges faced by search and rescue operations in the vast wilderness area of the Smoky Mountain National Park, and it underscores the need for improved strategies and technologies to track and locate individuals who go missing under similar circumstances. Family members, friends, and authorities have expressed a deep need for closure, not only for their peace of mind, but also to learn from Derek's case to prevent future tragedies. The ongoing mystery serves as a reminder of the unpredictability of such incidents and the profound impact it has on all whose lives are involved. The hope remains that one day, the truth about what happened to Derek Lueking will be uncovered, bringing much-needed closure to everybody touched by his story. Trell Evans, at the young age of 25, was the epitome of an avid hiker, with a passion that led him down countless trails and through a variety of landscapes. Trell sought not just the beauty of the natural world, but also the solitude and challenge that it offered. Each hike was not just a physical journey for him, but a spiritual one as well, a chance to connect with the earth and himself on a deeper level. On April 30th of 2023, Trell prepared for what was anticipated to be another mark in his journey as an explorer of the great outdoors. This particular adventure had him set his sights on the Black Rock Campground, a renowned starting point for hikers in the northwest corner of Joshua Tree National Park. Known for its unique geological features, stark beauty, and the mysteries whispered by its ancient landscapes, the park was a haven for hikers like Trell. It was a place where the vast skies met the rugged earth, where every sunrise promised new discoveries. The last day he was seen, Trell carried with him the usual essentials for a hiker, but also an air of excitement for the unknown paths that he would tread. Joshua Tree, with its twisted namesake trees and terrain that ranged from barren deserts to lush oases, was more than just a park. It was a world unto itself, filled with secrets and challenges. Trell's plan was to hike from Black Rock to the Geology Tour Road and then return to Black Rock via the California Riding and Hiking Trail, a route familiar to him, yet always ripe with new experiences. However, what started as a routine excursion into the wilds became surrounded in an air of mystery as the days passed. The park, a place of natural wonder, seemed to have drawn Trell into its fold, keeping him beyond the reach of the world he left behind. As the scheduled date of his return came and went, the mystery deepened. The vast expanses of Joshua Tree National Park, with their allure and danger, had witnessed many stories, but Trell's had taken an unexpected turn into the unknown. Trell Evans had a plan that was both simple and daring. He would start his journey at Black Rock, a familiar base camp hugged by the shadows of Joshua Tree National Park's rugged peaks. From there, his path would weave through the desert, aiming for the Geology Tour Road. This stretch was not just a route, but a passage through time, where each rock and crevasse whispered ancient secrets. His return was to be via the California Riding and Hiking Trail, a ribbon of dirt and dust that snaked through the heart of the park, promising solitude and the raw beauty of the wild. May 5th was marked on the calendars as the day of Tramel's return. A friend was to meet him at the same spot where he dropped him off, expecting tales of adventure and sights unseen. But as the clock ticked past the appointed hour, Tramel was nowhere to be found. The air, once filled with anticipation, grew heavy with silence. Calls went unanswered, and the horizon, which had once promised the return of an explorer, now echoed with the quiet of his absence. The mystery of his disappearance began to unfold against the backdrop of Joshua Tree's vast landscapes. A place of beauty became a canvas for unanswered questions. Had Tramel wandered off from the beaten path, lured by the call of the unknown? Or had the desert, with its unforgiving terrain and hidden dangers, claimed another soul? The initial absence turned into hours, then days, sparking a search that would comb the trails and hidden valleys of the park. Reports were filed, and a sense of urgency swept through the community. The adventurer, who had set out to conquer the trails of Joshua Tree, had vanished, leaving behind a trail of mystery and concern that would soon draw many into the search for answers. As soon as Trell Evans was reported missing on May 5th of 2023, Joshua Tree National Park became the epicenter of a massive search and rescue operation. Park Service officials, understanding the urgency and the risk of the desert, mobilized a team equipped not just with the determination to find Trell, but with the skills honed for precisely this kind of challenge. Trained trackers, experienced in reading the subtle signs of the wilderness, scoured the trails. Searchers, familiar with every hidden valley and secret cave, spread out in a grid, calling out for Trell, hoping for a response. Climbers, ready to tackle the park's imposing rock formations, looked for any clue that might lead to his whereabouts. Even the sky was enlisted in the effort, with helicopters cutting through the air, their crews peering down, searching for any sign of the missing hiker. The park, vast and veiled in secrets, seemed to hold its breath as the search intensified. Day after day, the teams pushed through the heat and the cold, driven by hope and the fear of what they might find. Amid this exhaustive effort, whispers of Tramel's fate began to surface. Unconfirmed sightings in Slab City and Wonder Valley sparked a flurry of activity, sending teams to these locations with a mix of hope and skepticism. Slab City, known for its off-the-grid community, and Wonder Valley, with its sparse population and wide-open spaces, offered new mysteries of their own. Were these sightings real, or just a mirage or hope in the vast desert? The search continued, days turning into weeks, with each passing moment stretching the fabric of hope thinner. The desert, a place of stark beauty and deadly challenges, offered no easy answers. Every clue, every reported sighting added a layer of mystery to this disappearance, painting a picture of a man seemingly swallowed by the landscape that he so loved. The efforts of the search teams, a testament to the resolve of those who dared to hope in the face of uncertainty, kept the story alive, even as the desert remained silent about the fate of Trell Evans. In the cold grasp of January, nearly 9 months after Trell vanished into the wilderness, the silence of the desert was finally broken. A group of park rangers, venturing into the Covington Flats area, stumbled upon a scene that would bring a somber turn to the ongoing mystery. There, scattered among the rugged beauty of the desert, were human remains. This discovery, a tragic bookmark in the search for Trell, lay ominously close to a collection of belongings that spoke silently over their owner's presence. Among these personal items, a backpack, unmistakably belonging to Trell, was found. The backpack, along with other possessions scattered nearby, served as a silent testament to the final days of a hiker who had sought solace and adventure in the embrace of nature. The items, each carrying a story of their own, whispered of plans made and journeys undertaken, now halted in the quiet of the desert. The news of the discovery reached Trell's family, who had been clinging to hope amidst the agony of uncertainty. Faced with the task of confirmation, they found themselves sifting through the personal effects recovered from the scene. Each item, a piece of a life that they feared lost, brought a heavy realization. There, in the fabric of a well-worn backpack, the pages of a journal, and the familiar threads of clothing, was the undeniable proof that they had dreaded to find. The belongings, echoes of Tremel's spirit, confirmed the worst for his family. This confirmation, though heart-wrenching, brought somber clarity to the months of searching, hoping, and waiting. The desert, which had kept its secrets closely guarded, had revealed a tragic truth. The family, united in grief but fortified by the memories of Tremel, faced this new reality with a blend of sorrow and acceptance. In the belongings found near the remains, they found a tangible connection to Tremel, a reminder of his love for the wild and his adventurous spirit. The discovery in Covington Flats, while bringing an end to the search, opened a new chapter of mourning and remembrance for those who knew and loved Trell Evans. He was more than just a hiker. He was a seeker for the secrets and silence that the wild could only offer. Standing tall at 6'3", with a frame built by the trails he traversed, Tremel was a figure that seemed almost carved out of these very landscapes that he loved. His reddish-brown hair, often under the shadow of a dark green beanie, and a gaze that reflected the depths of his adventures, marked him as the one who belonged to the outdoors. His affinity for hiking was not just a hobby, but a calling. Tremel found in the rugged terrains and the serene vistas a solace that the bustling cityscapes could never offer. Joshua Tree National Park, with its surreal landscapes of gnarled trees and shadowed rocks, had become a sanctuary for him. He had wandered its paths many times before, each journey a testament to his enduring quest for peace and understanding of the natural world. These expeditions were not just mere walks through nature, but pilgrimages to the heart of the wild, where he sought to find himself in the vastness of the earth. Behind his passions, however, lay a struggle seldom shared with the world. Tremel grappled with his chains of alcohol withdrawals, a battle that shadowed his steps even as he sought liberation in the solitude of hiking. The wilderness offered him a reprieve, a place where he could confront his demons amidst the grandeur of nature. Yet, this very quest for healing underestimated the grip of his condition. The challenge of withdrawal, a silent torment that followed him into the embrace of nature, became an unseen adversary among its trails. Tremel's motivation for hiking transcended the physical realms, delving into the psychological need to find balance and healing. The trails offered him a canvas to paint his struggles and victories, a place where the complexity of human endurance met the simplicity of nature's offerings. His journeys were as much about confronting his inner turmoil as they were about exploring the outer world. In the silent majesty of Joshua Tree, Tremel sought not just adventure, but a sanctuary where the whispers of the wind and the warmth of the sun spoke to him, offering him a momentary break from the storm within. The disappearance of Trell Evans stirred a profound response from both his family and the wider community. The family, in their quest for answers, reached out through social media, creating a network of support that spanned beyond their immediate circle. The digital beacon of hope became a gathering place for those who knew Tremel and many who did not, but were moved by his story. The hiking community, a vast tapestry of individuals who share a common love for the trails, rallied in solidarity. They organized searches, shared flyers, and spread the word, each action a testament to their collective resolve. Amidst the uncertainty, the community's heart swelled with messages of hope, stories of Tremel's kind spirit, and shared prayers for his safe return. This outpouring of support showcased the profound impact one soul could have on many, bridging gaps and uniting strangers in a common cause. Tremel's journey brought to light the often overlooked challenge of alcohol withdrawal, especially in the solitude of nature. His story underscores the vital importance of recognizing the signs and dangers of withdrawal, particularly for those seeking solace and healing in the wilderness. It serves as a reminder for hikers and adventurers to be mindful of their health conditions and the unique challenges they may face when isolated from immediate medical help. The conversation around Tremell's disappearance sparked a crucial dialogue about preparation, the need for awareness of personal health issues, and the importance of not underestimating the severity of withdrawal symptoms. Safety in hiking isn't just about the right gear or knowing the trail. It's equally about understanding one's physical and mental health limits. Trell Evans' story is a narrative woven with love, mystery, and the undeniable pull of nature. His life, marked by an indomitable spirit and a deep reverence for the outdoors, touched the hearts of those who knew him and those who came to know him through his disappearance. The circumstances of his tragic end, while heart-wrenching, serve as a powerful catalyst for change and awareness in the hiking and broader outdoor communities. His journey reminds us of the beauty of nature and the complexities of human health, urging a deeper understanding and preparation for the challenges we may one day face or embrace in the wilderness. In remembering Trell, we are called to advocate for increased safety measures and awareness in outdoor adventures, ensuring that the spirit of exploration is safeguarded by knowledge and care for our well-being. Through his story, Trell Evans leaves behind a legacy that transcends the trails he walked, inspiring a future where the love for adventure is matched by a commitment to safety and health. Kian McLaughlin, at the age of 27, epitomized the spirit of adventure and the love for the great outdoors. Hailing from Dublin, Ireland, Kian found his second home amidst the rugged beauty of Jackson, Wyoming. Here, he embraced the dual life of a snowboard instructor by winter and a bar worker by summer, thriving in the seasonal rhythms of this picturesque locale. Kian's zest for life and nature was infectious, mirrored in his own eagerness to explore, to meet new people, and to push the boundaries of his own experiences. On June 8th of 2021, Kian set out for what was supposed to be a routine solo hike in the breathtaking expanse of the Grand Teton National Park, a place as renowned for its stunning vistas as it is respected for its untamed wilderness. However, this hike would lead to a mystery that captured the hearts and minds of all who knew him. Kian's failure to return marked the beginning of a deep and unsettling mystery, plunging friends, family, and the wider community into a state of shock and concern. The vibrant young man, known for his friendly demeanor and robust outdoor skills, vanished without a trace, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and a palpable sense of urgency among those desperate to find him. Kian McLaughlin wasn't just an ordinary young man. His life was full of rich experiences and deep connections, woven from both sides of the Atlantic. Born in Dublin, Ireland, Kian carried within him a vibrant culture of his homeland, yet he was equally rooted in the American experience, thanks to his dual citizenship. This unique blend of identities shaped him into a person who was as comfortable in the bustling streets of Dublin as he was on the serene, snow-capped slopes of Wyoming. Wyoming offered Kian a canvas as vast and open as his ambitions. As a snowboard instructor, he found joy in gliding down the slopes, his days marked by the exhilarating rush of cold air and the sight of fresh snow underfoot. But Kian's love for the outdoors was not confined to winter months. Hiking through the rugged terrains of Grand Teton National Park, he sought adventure in the wilderness, each new trail a chapter in his ongoing exploration of the natural world. Kian's life in Wyoming was more than just a thrill of outdoor sports. It was also about the connections he forged. With a personality that radiated warmth and genuine interest in those around him, Kian became a beloved figure in both his professional and personal circles. Friends from Ireland and the U.S. cherished his companionship, remembering him for his easy laugh, his willingness to listen, and his knack for making every conversation memorable. Before his disappearance, Kian's plans were as simple as they were reflective of his love for nature, a solo hike in the breathtaking expanse of Grand Teton. It was an activity he had undertaken many times before, yet this time it would lead to an outcome that none could have anticipated. The mystery of what happened on that trail remains, but the essence of who Kian was, a man of adventure, camaraderie, and boundless spirit, remains remembered in the hearts of those who knew him. On a day like any other, under the clear blue skies of early June, Kian McLaughlin set out alone to embrace the park. It was a place that promised solitude and adventure, a sanctuary where nature's beauty was as overwhelming as it was serene. His plan was simple, a day hike, an escape into the wild that had become a ritual, a way to reconnect with the earth beneath his feet and the sky above. This hike, however, would unfold into a narrative far removed from the ordinary, marking the beginning of a profound mystery that would captivate all who heard it. As the hours turned into days without any sign of Cian, concern quickly mounted. His absence was out of character, a puzzle that those close to him couldn't piece together. When he failed to show up for work, alarm bells rang. Cian was known for his reliability, his punctuality, and his unwavering commitment to his job. His sudden silence and his unexplained absence spoke volumes. It was then that the reality of the situation sank in. Kian McLaughlin had vanished. The initial search effort sprang from a place of urgency and hope. Teams fanned out across the park, calling his name, hoping for a response. The rugged terrain of the Tetons, with its vast forests, steep slopes, and hidden valleys, became the focus of an intensive search operation. Park rangers, volunteers, and search dogs combed the area, looking for any clue, any sign of Cian. Helicopters buzzed overhead, their eyes scanning the ground below. Each day that passed without a trace of him deepened the mystery, fueling both the determination of the searchers and the growing fear that the wilderness he loved might have claimed him. The search for Kian McLaughlin evolved into an extensive operation that tapped into a broad arsenal of resources and expertise. Park rangers, alongside a committed group of volunteers, initiated a thorough combing of Grand Teton National Park. Dogs trained to track human scent traversed the rugged landscape, their noses diligently working, while helicopters roared overhead, breaking the natural silence. These helicopters weren't just eyes in the sky. They were equipped with infrared technology designed to detect heat signatures, a beacon of hope in locating Cian against the vast, wild backdrop. Yet, the search was far from straightforward. The beauty of Grand Teton National Park are at odds with the challenges that its terrain presents. In the spring, the park transforms, a period of rebirth that also ushers in a phase of unpredictability. Snowmelt accelerates, feeding into rivers and creating a landscape that is constantly changing. Ice lurks beneath the surface, a treacherous layer hidden from view. This was the setting of the search for Cian, a place where every step could lead to discovery or danger. These conditions compounded the difficulties faced by the search teams. The melting snow and ice not only made the terrain hazardous, but also obscured trails and potential clues to Cian's whereabouts. As each day passed, the melting snow reshaped the landscape, potentially erasing paths taken or signs left behind. The natural beauty of the Tetons, with its sprawling vistas and hidden valleys, became a daunting labyrinth in the quest to find Cian, a reminder of nature's power to both awe and challenge those who venture into its domain. The disappearance of Kian McLaughlin reverberated deeply within his family, casting a shadow of profound worry and heartache. At the heart of this emotional storm stood Cian's mother, whose determination to find her son became a beacon of hope amidst the uncertainty. Her resolve to bring Cian home was unwavering, fueled by a mother's love and the relentless desire for resolution. Her strength in the face of such adversity inspired all who joined the search, embodying a hope that refused to dim, even as the days turned into weeks without signs of Cian. In their quest for answers, Cian's families reached out to the wider community, issuing a public appeal that resonated with both locals and visitors of Grand Teton National Park. They urged anyone who had been in the park around the time of Cian's disappearance to look through their photographs, hoping that, by some stroke of fate, a clue to Cian's whereabouts might have been accidentally captured. This request, simple yet profound, tapped into a collective desire to help, mobilizing eyes and hearts across the globe in search for one man lost in the wilderness. The family's appeal transcended borders, touching the hearts of many who have never met Cian, but felt moved by the story of a young man with an infectious love for life and adventure. It was a reminder of the threads of humanity that connect us all, a call to action that spoke to the very essence of community and solidarity. In the face of the unknown, Cian's family stood resilient, their voices a testament to the enduring hope that one day Cian would be found and brought home. In the midst of the relentless search, the efforts encountered a bewildering twist. Heather Mykoski, a woman who claimed to have seen Cian on the day of his disappearance, provided a detailed account that sent ripples of hope through the hearts of the search teams and Cian's family. Her vivid description of a conversation with Cian pointed searchers towards a specific area of the park, redirecting resources and focus with a promise of a break in the case. However, this beacon of hope dimmed to darkness when it was revealed that Mykoski's sighting was fabricated, a false lead that steered the search efforts away from potential clues to Cian's actual whereabouts. The revelation of the false sighting was not just a setback, it was a significant blow to the morale of those involved in the search. Valuable time and resources had been expended on a lead that led nowhere, all while the window of opportunity to find Cian narrowed. Mykoski faced consequences for her actions, including a ban from Grand Teton National Park and a financial penalty, but the true cost of her fabrication was measured in the precious hours lost and the emotional turmoil on Cian's family rallying for his return. In the shadows of this deception, the mystery of Cian's disappearance deepened. Other potential sightings and pieces of information surfaced, including items Cian was believed to have carried with him. An Apple Watch, an iPhone, gold wire-rimmed sunglasses, a silver U-shaped pendant, and a white t-shirt. These details, while seemingly minor, held the potential to unravel the mystery surrounding Cian's fate. The public was urged to come forward with any information, no matter how insignificant it might have seemed, in the hope that Cian could still be found. The search for truth, hindered by false leads, continued under the weight of unanswered questions and the unwavering hope for a resolution. The search for Kian McLaughlin remains an open wound in the heart of Grand Teton National Park, a stark reminder of nature's vast and unfathomable depths. Despite the passage of time, the determination of Cian's family, along with the commitment of authorities, has not wavered. Their hope, though tested, persists, fueled by the belief that answers are still out there, waiting to be found. This enduring quest for closure underscores a collective resolve to uncover the truth of what happened to Cian on that June day, a resolve that resonates with all who hear his story. The call to action remains as vital as ever. Anyone who might hold a piece of the puzzle, no matter how small or inconsequential it may seem, is urged to come forward. Each piece of information is a potential key, a chance to piece together Cian's last steps, and ultimately to provide his family with the answers that they desperately seek. It is a call not just for information, but for compassion and solidarity in the face of uncertainty. This story, while deeply personal, echoes a universal reminder of the risks inherent in our explorations of the wild. It reinforces the critical importance of preparation and safety in all our outdoor activities, urging hikers and adventurers to inform others of their plans and to respect the unpredictable nature of the wilderness. For the outdoor and hiking community, Cian's disappearance serves as a lesson in the balance between the freedom of adventure and the respect and caution that the natural world demands. As the search continues, the mystery of Kian McLaughlin's disappearance remains a somber narrative within the grand tapestry of outdoor exploration. It is a narrative that calls on us to reflect on our interactions with nature, to prioritize safety and awareness, and to remember the fragile thread that connects us to the wild and to each other. Jacob Michael Olivier, at the age of 23, found himself far from his hometown of Spring, Texas, in circumstances that baffled everyone who knew him. Known for his kindness and thoughtful nature, Jacob's life in Texas was one of recovery and hope, making his sudden disappearance in August of 2011 all the more mystifying and out of character. The setting of his vanishing was the sprawling and wild Everglades National Park in Florida. The questions began when Jacob, without any apparent reason, embarked on a long journey over 1,000 miles from the comfort of his home to the unfamiliar and challenging terrain of the Florida Everglades. This vast natural reserve, known for its unique ecosystem and daunting landscapes, was far from anything Jacob was known to seek out. His arrival in Florida was unannounced and unexpected. He had no friends or family in that area, nor any known connections to the state. The purpose of his journey remained shrouded in mystery, sparking intrigue and speculation among those who sought to understand his motivations. Upon entering the Everglades, Jacob's trail went cold. His green 1998 Isuzu Hombre truck was discovered abandoned in a parking lot, a silent witness to the start of a disappearance that would captivate and haunt many. The discovery of the truck, with personal belongings still inside, marked the beginning of a search that would span the rugged expanse of the park. Yet, despite extensive efforts to locate him, no trace of Jacob could be found, deepening the mystery of his fate. Jacob's sudden decision to leave Texas, his solitary journey to the Everglades, and the puzzle of his disappearance create a narrative that is as perplexing as it is tragic. Questions abound. What drew him to the Everglades? What happened in the park that led to his disappearance? The lack of answers casts a shadow over Jacob's story, leaving family, friends, and investigators grappling with the unknown. The mysterious aspects of Jacob's disappearance, his unexpected travel, the desolate location where he was last known to be, and the absence of clear reasons for his journey continue to perplex and fascinate those who seek to unravel the truth behind his vanishing. Jacob Michael Olivier's disappearance unfolds with a sequence of eerie and puzzling events, leaving more questions than answers. Before vanishing, Jacob's life seemed to be on a regular path, with no hints of the strange journey he was about to undertake. His last known activities were mundane, part of his daily life in Spring, Texas. Then, without warning, he was gone. The mystery deepened when the Everglades National Park Service found Jacob's green Isuzu Hombre truck abandoned. It sat silently in the parking lot of Pine Glades Lake, an empty vessel hinting at an unsettling story of its owner's disappearance. The discovery of the truck sent shockwaves through Jacob's family. They were blindsided by the news, unable to comprehend why Jacob would travel over 1,000 miles to the Everglades, a place disconnected from his life in Texas. As the authorities delved into the investigation, they uncovered CCTV footage that captured Jacob entering the park. This footage, showing Jacob driving into the Everglades alone, provided a crucial timestamp for his entry, but also deepened the mystery, marking the moment he moved beyond the reach of those who knew him. Inside the truck, investigators found items that seemed out of place. A ticket that confirmed his entry date into the park, an empty weapon case signaling the presence of a gun now missing, and other personal belongings. These items painted a confusing picture of his intentions and preparedness. The last ping from Jacob's phone came late that afternoon, off a tower within the park, suggesting he had moved further into the Everglades after parking his truck. This final signal from his phone was a critical piece of evidence, offering a fleeting connection to Jacob's movements within the vast park. It guided the search efforts, hinting at where Jacob might have ventured before disappearing completely. Together, these pieces, the abandoned truck, the CCTV footage, the items left behind, and the last phone ping, compose a timeline marked by uncertainty and concern. They form the foundation of a mystery that has perplexed his family, friends, and investigators alike. The initial reaction of alarm and confusion have since given way to a relentless search for answers, driving efforts to understand what happened to Jacob after he entered the Everglades, a quest that continues to this day amidst the silence of the park's sprawling wilderness. The search for Jacob mobilized a vast and coordinated effort, weaving together the skills and resources of the Everglades National Park Service, the Civil Air Patrol, and canine units in a desperate attempt to find him. The park's rangers, accustomed to the challenges of their environment, understood the enormity of their task. They were searching for a needle in a haystack, but the haystack was the Everglades, a vast expanse of over 1.5 million acres of wetland, dense vegetation, and waterways. The search teams faced formidable obstacles. The Everglades is not only immense, but its terrain is treacherous and unwelcoming. Thick mangroves, deep waters, and the ever-present risk of encountering wildlife, from alligators to venomous snakes, made the search operation perilous. Weather conditions, too, were an adversary. The Florida heat, sudden thunderstorms, and high humidity challenged the endurance of the searchers and complicated efforts to track any signs of Jacob's movement or passage. Despite these obstacles, the search teams pressed on. Canine units attempted to trace Jacob's scent, but could only find traces of it around his truck and a limited perimeter beyond it. This led to speculation that Jacob might have left the park in another vehicle or on foot, broadening the already massive search area. The Civil Air Patrol took to the skies, hoping to spot clues from above, while rangers and volunteers combed the ground below. The discovery of the empty weapon case in his truck, coupled with the final ping from his cell phone, suggested various scenarios. Did Jacob meet someone in the park? Was he planning to go off-grid, or was this trip a result of an impulse or confusion? His family and the authorities grappled with these questions, each theory guiding the search in new directions, but yielding little in the way of concrete answers. The investigation into Jacob's disappearance was a puzzle with too many missing pieces. The vastness of the Everglades, the challenges posed by the environment, and the scarcity of leads formed a complex web of obstacles that hampered efforts to uncover what happened to Jacob after he stepped into that park. With every day that passed, the mystery of his fate grew deeper, leaving more questions than answers in its wake. The disappearance of Jacob Michael Olivier cast a shadow of sorrow and uncertainty over his family, leaving them grappling with an endless sea of questions and the pain of his absence. Each day without answers adds to their emotional burden, a relentless mix of hope and despair. Jacob's family found themselves in a relentless quest for answers, clinging to any piece of information that might explain why Jacob traveled to the Everglades and what had happened to him there. Their lives were suspended in a state of waiting and wondering, with each unanswered question deepening their anguish. The community response to Jacob's disappearance was a testament to the bonds that tie people together in times of crisis. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers rallied around Jacob's family, offering support in various forms, from participating in search and rescue efforts to providing emotional support. The search for Jacob brought together a diverse group of individuals, each driven by a shared purpose to bring him home. This collective effort reflected the community's resilience and compassion as they joined hands with Jacob's family in their time of need. As days turned into weeks and then years, the absence of concrete answers took its toll, not only on Jacob's family, but also on the wider community. The mystery of his disappearance lingered like an open wound, a constant reminder of the fragility of life and the depths of human connection. Jacob's story transcended personal tragedy, touching the hearts of many and uniting them in a shared hope for closure and peace. The emotional impact of Jacob's disappearance on his family and the surrounding community underscores the profound ways in which a single life can touch many. It is a story of love, loss, and the enduring human spirit in the face of the unknown. In the wake of Jacob's disappearance, theories and speculations emerged, each attempting to shed light on the reasons behind his unexpected journey to the Everglades and the circumstances of his vanishing. The lack of concrete evidence and clear motives turned the case into a canvas for conjecture, with various scenarios painted by those following the case closely. One theory suggested that Jacob, seeking adventure or a break from his routine life, might have been drawn to the Everglades for its vast wilderness and isolation. Perhaps in seeking solitude or a connection with nature, Jacob underestimated the challenges and dangers of the park. This theory contemplates the possibility of an accident or getting lost in the expansive and treacherous terrain of the Everglades. Another line of speculation revolved around the mental health challenges Jacob had faced in the past. Could a desire for escape, a sudden impulse, or a bout of confusion have led him to drive across the country to such a remote and challenging environment? The discovery of an empty weapons case in his truck added a layer of complexity, suggesting preparation for a threat or, more troublingly, an intention that spoke to a deeper turmoil. The last known signal from Jacob's phone, coupled with the CCTV footage of him entering the park alone, fueled discussions about his state of mind and intentions upon arrival. Was Jacob meeting someone in the Everglades? The isolated location, far from his home and devoid of personal connections, made this theory both intriguing and perplexing. The absence of further evidence made it impossible to confirm if the trip was planned or spontaneous, or if Jacob intended to meet with fate or flee from it. Some speculated about the possibility of foul play, considering the Everglades' reputation for being a place where secrets can easily be hidden. However, without evidence of a struggle or a confrontation, this theory remained as speculative as the others. Amid these theories, the implications for the case were significant. Each hypothesis opened new avenues for investigation, but also highlighted the daunting task of searching for truth in a place as vast and impenetrable as the Everglades. The speculative nature of these theories underscores the profound mystery at the heart of Jacob's disappearance. A puzzle composed of fragmented clues, unanswered questions, and the echoing silence of the wilderness. The case of Jacob Michael Olivier remains an unsolved puzzle, a story suspended in the still, silent expanse of the Everglades. Classified as endangered missing, Jacob's disappearance is a cold case that refuses to fade into obscurity. Kept alive by the tireless efforts of his family, authorities, and a community unwilling to forget. Despite the passage of years, the quest for answers continues, with each day adding to the resolve to uncover the truth behind Jacob's mysterious vanishing. In an effort to keep the case in the public eye, Jacob's family and law enforcement have made repeated appeals for information. Social media posts, flyers, and press conferences serve as a reminder of Jacob's disappearance, urging anyone with even the smallest piece of information to come forward. Contact details for tips are widely circulated, offering a direct line for those who might hold the key to unraveling the mystery. These efforts underscore a collective determination to find Jacob, reflecting a hope that someone, somewhere, knows something that could lead to a breakthrough. Jacob's case casts a spotlight on the broader challenges of missing persons investigations in the vast natural parks like the Everglades. It highlights the immense difficulties faced by search and rescue teams navigating these wild, often inhospitable terrains. The disappearance of a single individual in such a sprawling wilderness underscores the need for enhanced search technologies, improved coordination among agencies, and greater awareness among the public of the risks associated with these natural landscapes. Moreover, Jacob's story serves as a reminder of the countless others who have vanished without a trace in similar settings. It raises important questions about how society, law enforcement, and communities respond to such disappearances and the measures in place to prevent them. In the fate of nature's vastness and the limits of human endeavor, the continuing mystery of Jacob Michael Olivier stands as a testament to the enduring hope for resolution and the relentless search for answers in the depths of the unknown. As we reflect on the enduring mystery of Jacob's disappearance, let us also remember the power of community, the strength of hope, and the unyielding human spirit in the face of the unknown. This story, while unique in its details, is a reminder of the countless others who remain missing, and the ongoing quest for answers that continues to unite us all. In the serene wilderness of East Idaho, nestled amongst the dense pines and the quiet whispers of nature, lies the Timber Creek Campground. This remote location, known for its tranquility and untouched beauty, became the setting of a baffling mystery that started on a warm summer day, July 10th of 2015. The Koun's family, seeking a break from the routine of city life in Idaho Falls, decided on an impromptu trip to the great outdoors. With their 2-year-old son, Dior Koun Jr., affectionately called Little Man by his parents, Jessica Mitchell and Vernal Dior Koun Sr., the family packed up their gear for a simple weekend of fishing and relaxation. Accompanying them were Dior's great-grandfather, Robert Walton, and a family friend, Isaac Reinwand, each bringing years of camping experience, but unaware of the looming tragedy. Upon arriving at the campground, the group set about making their temporary home. The parents busied themselves with setting up camp chairs and igniting a fire in the pit, all while laughing and sharing stories. Nearby, the creek added a soothing soundtrack to their activities. Walton, perhaps feeling the weight of his years, decided to rest inside the trailer, leaving the door open to stay connected to the group. Isaac wandered off to fish, drawn by the lure of the stream's promise. In these peaceful moments, Dior, with his blonde shaggy hair and innocent eyes, was the epitome of a toddler's curiosity. Dressed in a camouflage jacket and blue pants, he seemed just another part of the natural tapestry, a small figure amidst the vastness of the forest. The last detail of normalcy was his attire, cowboy boots, a size too big, known to slip off his tiny feet, a crucial detail later remembered amidst the chaos. As the afternoon sun began to cast longer shadows, Jessica and Vernal informed Walton of their plan to explore the nearby area, assuming he would keep a watchful eye on Dior. However, a critical misunderstanding unfolded. Walton thought Dior had followed his parents and Reinwand down to the creek. The stage was set, not for a peaceful continuation of a family outing, but for a disappearance that would perplex and haunt all involved.
At some point, before we were all as a group, as we started to leave the campground, I remember all of us being together.
But not
happened,
Bob.
Right.
Bob wasn't there.
Bob was at the camp, stayed at the camp.
Okay.
As far as I know, I thought maybe Dior was still behind us, and I was showing Jessica. Like when I went to go show them the fishing hole, like I went down there and showed Jessica where the fishing hole is, and I assumed that, Dior and his dad were right behind me.
Okay.
Or just behind us. They was taking them a little bit to catch up.
And at what point did you and Dior Sr. and Jessica split up? They went somewhere else and you went somewhere, you said earlier, right? You came down the creek closer to the campground and left them up there?
Yeah.
And
I did. I don't know, it was like 5-10 minutes. I showed them, I think it must have been 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
After I did that, I started to walk. I walked towards camp and I went to another fishing hole to fish. And I was down there fishing for a while, and that's when I noticed Bob was up there on the ridge walking, pacing back and forth. So I asked him what was going on, and he said little Dior is missing. And I was like, what?
The mystery deepened when, after some time, Jessica returned to check on Dior. The casual question to her grandfather, "Where's little Dior?" was met with confusion and the chilling realization that no one knew where the boy was. The shock that rippled through the camp was the first wave of panic that would soon engulf the entire community. This miscommunication marked the beginning of a search that would grow in scale and desperation. As minutes turned into hours without any sign of Dior, the family's distress escalated to a full-blown emergency. The serene setting of the campground, once a place of joy and laughter for the Koun's family, had morphed into a perplexing mystery, hiding in its shadows that seemed as deep as the woods himself. As the realization that little Dior was missing settled in, the calm of the Timber Creek campground fractured into chaos. The family's initial search, a frantic calling of Dior's name through the thickets and trees, quickly escalated. Jessica and Vernal, panic-stricken, split up to cover more ground, their voices echoing off the dense forest canopy. Meanwhile, Robert Walton, despite his age and confusion over the boy's last known location, tried to retrace his steps, hoping to spot a glimpse of the camouflage jacket among the greens and browns of the woods.
What's the address of your emergency?
I'm actually camping in Ledworth, just outside of Ledworth.
Uh-huh.
My 2-year-old son, we can't find him.
How long has he been missing?
About an hour.
An hour?
Yeah.
Are you by water?
Yes.
Do you know which campground you're in?
It's Stone Reservoir, Timber Creek.
Stone Reservoir?
Yeah, or Timber Creek.
Hold on. We need search and rescue. Jessica? Jessica?
Yeah.
What's your son's name? Okay, what is he wearing?
He was wearing cowboy boots, a blue hair, like pajama pants, and a camel jacket. And he's got shaggy blonde hair.
Is your husband calling too?
Like all down where we were camping at, and we can't find him at all.
Okay, we need you to stay within cell service. We've got people going on the way.
Thank you.
The quiet afternoon was soon pierced by the sounds of sirens as local law enforcement arrived. Dior's disappearance had turned from a family concern into an official search operation. The campground became a hub of activity, with officers coordinating with volunteer search teams. The landscape, once an idyllic backdrop for a family getaway, transformed into a sprawling, ominous puzzle where every tree and bush could be hiding secrets. Search teams fanned out from the campsite, calling out for Dior, the sound of their efforts bouncing hauntingly in the open air. As they moved through the underbrush, the rustle of leaves underfoot seemed unnaturally loud. Search dogs were brought in, their handlers guiding them through the possible paths Dior might have wandered. The dogs sniffed diligently, their behavior watched eagerly by everyone, each change in their demeanor sparking a flicker of hope or a sinking feeling of despair. The creek, with its gentle flow and slippery banks, posed a particular worry. Divers suited up and went into the cold, clear water, feeling their way beneath the surface for any sign of the child. Above them, drones buzzed, providing aerial views of the rugged terrain, their cameras scanning the landscape for any anomaly that might be a small boy alone and afraid. As the sun began to set, the forest shadows grew longer and the temperature dropped. The light that once illuminated the campground now cast long, dark shadows, making the search efforts even more urgent. Portable lights were set up around the area, casting an eerie glow as the search continued into the night. Volunteers gathered around maps, their faces drawn and worried, discussing the next place to check. With each passing hour, the mystery of Dior's whereabouts deepened. The initial theory that he might have simply wandered off seemed increasingly insufficient, as no trace of him was found. Speculation began to swirl among the search parties and the gathered media. Had Dior been taken? Was there an accident that they had not yet uncovered? The lack of evidence only fueled more questions. The campground echoed with the murmur of urgent conversations and the distinct calls of searchers refusing to give up. The atmosphere was tense, with the fear of the unknown looming over the efforts of the search team, who combed through every inch of the surrounding area, driven by the hope of finding Dior safe, but hindered by the growing realization that the forest might not give up its secrets so easily. The search for Dior Koun Jr. reached its most critical and intense moment nearly 4 days into the operation. The arrival of cadaver dogs, trained specifically to detect the scent of human remains, had brought a tense anticipation to the Timber Creek campground. The atmosphere thickened with a mix of hope and dread as teams prepared for what the dogs might find. As the dogs began their work, moving methodically through the dense undergrowth that surrounded the campground, all other activities seemed to pause. Searchers, family members, and law enforcement officers watched in suspense silence, each step the dogs took charged with potential significance. The handlers led their canine partners with a calm efficiency, but the gravity of what they might discover weighed heavily on everyone's mind. Then, in a moment that felt both sudden and inevitable, one of the dogs alerted strongly near a patch of brush not far from where Dior was last seen. The dog circled, sniffed aggressively, and sat down, a signal that something was there. The handler marked the spot and called over the radio for the investigative team. Heartbeats quickened and breaths were held as the area was cordoned off, the natural sound of the forest seeming to fall away until there was nothing but the soft murmur of the creek in the distance. The search team moved in with shovels at the site. Observers held their breath, hoping for any sign that might bring closure, but also fearing what might be uncovered. As the excavation continued, the tension was palpable, with each shovel of earth turned over bringing a mix of hope and heartache. After hours of meticulous work, the lead investigator stood up, turning to address the anxious crowd of onlookers. He held up a small object for all to see. It was not the discovery everyone feared. Instead, it was a bone. But immediately, there was a twist in the tale. Preliminary examination suggested it was not human. It was likely from an animal. This revelation brought a complex flood of relief and frustration. Relief that they had not found evidence of a tragic end for Dior, but frustration because the mystery of his disappearance remained as dense as the forest around them. This moment marked the peak of the search efforts in both scale and emotional intensity. The campground, once a place of leisure and escape, had transformed into the epicenter of an agonizing mystery. The failure to find conclusive evidence left the search teams and the family in a state of suspended despair. Questions swirled like the leaves in the chilly wind. Where could Dior be? What had happened to this little boy whose disappearance had captured the hearts and fears of so many? As the searchers packed up their tools and the crowd began to disperse, the forest seemed to reclaim its stillness, the shadows once again just shadows, hiding nothing, or so it seemed. The case remained open, the answers elusive, and the pain of not knowing continued to haunt all who were involved. The climax of the search had passed, but the resolution of Dior's story was yet to be found, leaving a lingering echo of the mystery in the cool mountain air. As the initial surge of activity following the inconclusive discovery by the cadaver dogs began to wane, the search for Dior Koun Jr. transitioned into a more subdued phase. The large teams of volunteers and the constant buzz of activity around the campground slowly dissipated, replaced by a quieter, more persistent investigation. Law enforcement continued their efforts, but with each passing day, the trail seemed to grow colder. The parents, Jessica and Vernal, faced increasing scrutiny. Their initial confusion and panic slowly turned into a deep, worrisome anxiety as they were questioned repeatedly by the police. The lack of new evidence meant that this investigation had to rely more on piecing together the family's activities and statements from the day Dior disappeared. This meticulous process revealed inconsistencies in the timelines provided by the parents and the other adults on the trip, casting a shadow of doubt and suspicion over all their accounts. Meanwhile, private investigators hired by the family brought in their own theories and suspicions to the table, but they too found themselves mirrored in the complexities of the case. Each new theory seemed only to add more questions rather than providing answers. As they dug deeper, interviewing witnesses and re-examining evidence, their findings led to public statements that did not always align with the official police investigation, creating a confusing narrative for the public following the case. The media coverage, which had been frenzied during the initial days of the search, began to take on a more speculative tone. News reports frequently highlighted the mysterious aspects of the case, often focusing on the emotional torment of the family and the community's continued interest and involvement in finding Dior. This sustained media attention kept the case in the public eye, but also pressured the investigators to pursue every possible lead, no matter how small or slight that it seemed. As weeks turned into months, the energy of the search dimmed. Search teams still returned to the campground periodically, driven by new tips or just a determined hope of finding something overlooked in a previous search. These efforts, however, felt more like rituals of hope than actionable leads. The community also remained engaged, holding vigils and creating memorials for Dior. The small town was bonded by the tragedy, with residents continuing to support the family and each other, even as the mystery lingered like a heavy fog over their daily lives. Yet, beneath this communal solidarity, there were whispers, rumors that questioned every detail of the parents' version of events. This period of the investigation was marked not by the frantic activity of the initial search, but by a slow, grinding process of examination and re-examination, of waiting for a breakthrough that seemed increasingly unlikely to come. The mystery of Dior's disappearance settled into the landscape of the campground, an unresolved shadow that lingered long after the search teams had packed up and gone. Years after Dior Koun Jr. vanished from the Timber Creek campground, the case remained an open wound in the community and a haunting presence in the lives of everyone involved. Despite exhaustive searches, numerous interviews, and endless speculation, no conclusive evidence had emerged to provide closure or comfort to those left behind. In the small community near Ledore, Idaho, Dior's disappearance had become a somber legend, a story whispered among locals and a reminder of the boy who just simply vanished. The campground itself had become a site for those who followed the case or found themselves touched by the family's struggle. People sometimes left toys or flowers near the site where Dior was last seen, a small gesture to honor his memory and express hope, however faint. For Dior's family, particularly his grandparents, the years did little to ease the agony of not knowing. His grandmother, Trina Clegg, remained a vocal presence in the media, her face lined with grief of the years without her grandson. Each anniversary of his disappearance prompted new interviews, where she repeated her resolve never to give up hope of finding Dior or learning what happened to him. Her home bore the marks of the missing boy, with pictures of Dior's bright smile and somber images from the search posters. Law enforcement officials periodically reviewed the case, each new sheriff or investigator pledging to look at the evidence with fresh eyes. Yet, despite these efforts, the mystery endured, each review seemingly only to deepen the puzzle. The file on Dior Koun Jr. grew thicker with reports and theories, yet remained painfully thin on answers. The theories about what happened to Dior continued to circulate: abduction, an unfortunate accident, or something darker tied to the inconsistencies in the parents' account. Online forums and social media groups dedicated to the case often buzzed with amateur sleuths debating these theories, each new post striving to shed light on the cold trails left in the wake of the investigation. The impact of the case extended beyond the immediate family and community to touch a nationwide audience. Documentaries and true crime shows revisit this story regularly, drawing in viewers with eerie details and the interviews with the family members. Each retelling serves to underscore the haunting absence of resolution and the gripping pull of this unsolved mystery. Ultimately, the story of Dior Koun Jr. was one of absence and enduring mystery. The landscape of the Timber Creek campground continued to bear silent witness to the unresolved fate of the little boy lost. The echoes of what might have happened to Dior lingered in the mountain air, a haunting reminder that not all stories find their conclusion, leaving instead a lasting legacy of uncertainty and sorrow. In the dense woods of Mount Hood National Forest, the mysterious disappearance of Garen Kirk left many unanswered questions. On December 3rd of 2014, Garen, a seasoned outdoorsman, ventured alone into the forest for a routine hike. Unknown to his family and friends at the time, this trip would be unlike any other. It wasn't until 2018 that hikers stumbled upon a wallet and human remains in a remote ravine, sparking a renewed interest in his case. Finally, in June of 2022, these remains were confirmed to be Garen's, providing some closure to the haunting mystery that lingered for years. Garen Kirk was not just an avid hiker, but a devoted father and a student with aspirations. His love for the outdoors was paralleled by his commitment to furthering his education and providing for his daughter. Despite his familiarity with the wilderness of Oregon, the forest that had been his retreat would also cloud his fate in mystery. Garen Kirk was a 31-year-old man from Milwaukee, Oregon, with a life that balanced between his roles as a father, student, and outdoor enthusiast. He had spent several years in Arizona working in admissions for the University of Phoenix before returning to his hometown. There, he re-enrolled in school at Portland Community College and had just completed his first term of online courses with National University. Garen was driven, aiming to complete his bachelor's degree and eventually pursue a master's. As a father, Garen shared joint custody of his 5-year-old daughter, Gabriella. His commitment to his daughter was deep, mirroring the dedication he showed in every aspect of his life. Garen's passion for the outdoors was well known among his friends and family. He was particularly drawn to the sprawling, rugged landscapes of Mount Hood National Forest, a place he had explored numerous times. His extensive experience in hiking and camping in these woods made him familiar with its trails and terrain. The familiarity makes his mysterious disappearance all the more perplexing, as he was well versed in the skills needed to navigate such challenging environments. On the chilly morning of December 3rd, 2014, Garen Kirk set out for what was supposed to be a routine 3-day hike in the familiar terrains of Mount Hood. He planned to return by December 6th. Unlike his previous trips, this time Garen did not leave a detailed itinerary with his family, a decision that would later shroud his disappearance in mystery. Garen's absence was first noted when he failed to return home as expected. Concern grew quickly among his family members, who realized they had no specific details about his planned route or exact destinations within the vast forest. The situation escalated when his gold Pontiac Grand Am was found abandoned at Frog Lake Campground, which served as his starting point. The vehicle, parked undisturbed, offered no clues, deepening the worry for his safety. The discovery of his car prompted immediate action. Family members contacted authorities, leading to a flurry of activity as search and rescue teams prepared to scour the area. The initial reaction was a mix of urgency and confusion. Searchers faced the daunting task of piecing together Garen's possible movements in the extensive wilderness without a clear trail to follow. This lack of information would profoundly complicate the search efforts and amplify the mystery surrounding his disappearance. The full-scale search for Garen began on December 8th of 2014, a day after his abandoned vehicle was located at Frog Lake Campground. This delay was crucial. The time lost could have allowed for significant changes in weather or his situation. The challenge was not just a ticking clock, but also the vast and variable terrain of Mount Hood National Forest, known for its dense woods and steep ravines, which could hide any number of secrets. This included teams from Pacific Northwest Search and Rescue, Mountain Wave Emergency Communications, and various county sheriff's search and rescue squads. The community response was overwhelming, with around 170 volunteers participating, demonstrating the urgency and community concern for Garen. The search teams employed every tool at their disposal. Sniffer dogs were brought in, attempting to trace Garrett's scent through the forest. Infrared cameras mounted on aircraft swept the area, looking for heat signatures that could indicate his presence. Despite these advanced technologies, the rugged and sprawling nature of the landscape posed a significant obstacle. Conditions during the search added to the difficulties. The area experienced unusually damp weather and temperature that hovered just above freezing, with low snow levels that should have aided visibility, but instead contributed to the harsh conditions. After an intense week of searching that tested the resolve of everyone involved, the official search was reluctantly called off on December 15th of 2014. No significant clues had been uncovered, and Garen remained lost to the shadowy depths of the forest, leaving behind questions that the misty terrain of Mount Hood seemed unwilling to surrender. 4 years after Garen Kirk mysteriously vanished, a group of hikers made a startling discovery in a secluded ravine only about a mile from where his journey began. Among the scattered leaves and debris, they found a wallet. Inside was Garrett's driver's license, a haunting clue that linked directly to him. Near the wallet, there were also human remains, raising both hope and heartache for those who had been waiting for any news for years. The process to confirm that these remains were indeed Garen's was painstaking. DNA samples were collected and analyzed, a procedure that extended over several years. Finally, in June of 2022, the results confirmed the remains belonged to Garen. This official identification brought a complex mix of relief and profound sorrow to his family and the community that had supported the search efforts. The community felt a deep sense of loss mixed with closure as the mystery of Garen's disappearance found some form of conclusion, albeit a tragic one. The place he loved, the wilderness of Mount Hood, had kept its secret for years, only revealing it bit by bit to those who tread its paths. Confirmation of Garen Kirk's death was met with a wave of grief from his family. They experienced a bittersweet closure, relieved to finally have answers, but devastated by the loss. The resolution brought them a painful peace, ending years of agonizing uncertainty. Reflecting on the search efforts, the family expressed gratitude toward the volunteers and agencies involved, recognizing the extensive efforts made to find Garen. They also acknowledged the complexities and challenges of such searches, emphasizing the importance of preparation and clear communication. From this experience, key safety messages and advice have emerged for future hikers. The family, along with search agencies, strongly advocate for leaving detailed plans with someone before heading into the wilderness. They stress the importance of being prepared with proper gear and knowledge of the terrain, as well as the necessity of understanding weather conditions, which can change rapidly and unpredictably. Garen Kirk's story is a reminder of the mysteries and dangers that can lurk in the beauty of our natural landscapes. His disappearance and the eventual discovery of his remains highlighted both the vulnerability of even the most experienced hikers and the relentless unpredictability of nature. The closure provided by the identification of his remains brought a profound sense of finality to his loved ones and the community. This tragic event underscores the critical need for preparedness and caution in wilderness adventures, ensuring that the memory of Garen Kirk serves as a guiding lesson for all who venture into the great outdoors.